Hi, everyone. So nice to be here. I am absolutely thrilled to talk more about creativity and Spotify today. As she mentioned, I'm Bridget. I lead business marketing for Spotify. So I'm going to talk a bit more about creativity and creativity that drives impact. I know we're at Cannes, which is the epicenter of creativity. So I would love to just talk about that, but we know that creative doesn't really matter for our jobs unless it also drives impact. So I'll unpack that a little bit too. While, business marketing is my day job, I'm also just a deep, deep fan of music, and I've always been. So I thought I would also just kick it off with a little bit of insight into what that means for me. Because when we think about creativity, and we think about creativity on Spotify, what that really comes down to is fandom and how to dive into fandom. So for me, I was absolutely obsessed with No Doubt when I was 10 years old. I had Gwen Stefani posters all over my wall. I was the self-acclaimed #1 No Doubt fan, blasting Tragic Kingdom literally every day. My brothers and my sister were probably very annoyed by me. But that was such a huge part of my childhood. I have a lot of nostalgia toward No Doubt in particular. And that fandom lives everywhere. I'm sure you all have your fandoms that you subscribe to. So I thought I would actually start with a little game and see how well you know some of the fandoms that live on Spotify. I'm going to show you a picture, and I'd love for you to just shout out the artist if you know who the artist is, and then I'll tell you what their fandoms are called. Good job. Heard that in the back. Yeah, this is a layup. Everyone knows Oasis. It's also maybe the 90s haircuts that gave it away. Does anyone know what their fans are called? Mad Ferrets. And the reason why is because when they first started playing shows, they would open up their shows and say, "Are you mad for it?" And it sounded like Mad Ferrets, and so that became the name of all of their fans. Second one. Who is this pop queen? Yes, Chappell Roan. A lot of winners in the back there. Yes, Chappell Roan absolutely blew up on Spotify. I personally am a huge fan of her music. She actually calls her fans pop stars, but they've taken matters into their own hands and have started self-identifying as chappies, chapsticks, Ronies, pink pony Ronies, and a lot of other names. And one more for you. Anyone know this bejeweled pop star? This one's tricky because you can't see the face. This is Olivia Rodrigo. And what I love about this image is it's such deep fandom because it's if you know, you know. The bejeweling, the stickers, it's kind of all her personal brand. And her fans are called Livies. So no problem if you did not get any of those right, and congratulations to the people in the back who got 2 correct. But I just wanted to start off this way to really acknowledge again that we all have these different fandoms that looks absolutely different for everyone. There might be some similarities within it, but really at the end of the day, Spotify has become the place for fandom. Sorry, I have a little bit of a... There we go. Oops. Okay, I can't go back, so I'll just talk there. So Spotify is the place where fandom lives, and the reason why is it literally is the best place to be a fan. The entire kind of concept of our platform is to celebrate what you love and reward you with it. And I'm sure a lot of you recognize that through this end-of-year Wrapped report that we come out with every year, where we celebrate your fandom by showing you all of your listening behavior and your data so you could see it and you can also share it. So Wrapped is a great example of that. But you also see it in our product. So what I mean by that is a lot of you may, get notifications if a new artist is going to be touring in your area, or you may get a video from an artist, a personal video based on you listening and streaming a lot of their music, thanking you for being a fan. And when a new podcast episode is coming out for a podcast that you stream a lot, you might also get a notification. So we're constantly finding ways to really celebrate the community of fans that live on our platform. And communities of fans live on our platform because we have such a positive environment. Right now, I think we're all experiencing this idea that we want, less FOMO, less social media anxiety, all in favor of more positivity, more connection, and more, we're having some larger issues here. There we go. More positivity, more connection, and more positive environments. We actually like to call Spotify a nutritious environment because you're never like, I really, really need a cleanse from podcasts or music. You don't, because it makes you feel good. We actually know that people feel about 15% happier after a Spotify session because of that. So we are the essential daily companion for people that are tuning in all throughout their day. And that looks different for everyone. That could be, waking up in the morning and watching a podcast video on your way to work. It could be, going to the gym and listening to music that, pumps you up. It could be listening to a podcast while you're cooking. But you're still tuning in through audio and through video all throughout your day to connect with these creators that you're fans of. And the reason why that looks different for everyone is because Spotify has this massive catalog that is unmatched of billions of playlists and millions of songs and over 300,000 audiobooks. So when you stream on Spotify, we're able to gather all of these signals to better understand what you love now and also what you'll love next. And that same AI streaming intelligence that powers our platform also powers our advertising experience, which leads me to how advertisers can be creative on Spotify. Ultimately, it's by tapping into these fandoms and understanding your audience by using our insights to better understand how you can connect with them and deliver your best ideas on Spotify. We have 3 core principles when we think about that, when we think about creativity on Spotify. 1 is think like a fan, 2 is act like a creator, and 3 is tap into culture. When I say think like a fan, I've talked about fandom a lot for the last 10 minutes, so you know what fandom is. But when I say think like a fan, what I mean is that as a brand, it's being there 24/7, tapping into the vibes of what your audience is after, their moods, their moments, and their mindsets. Moods meaning, are they listening to happy music? Are they listening to news? Are they curious? Are they in a learning environment by listening to podcasts, considering that context in which your brand shows up? And then also moments, because as I mentioned, people are tuning in, streaming Spotify all throughout their day in a million different ways. So you can think about how at different moments or even during different seasons, you can reach them based on their mindset. 2, as I mentioned, act like a creator. If you think about creator marketing outside of Spotify and how creators think in general, I'm sure there's some creators in this room, they're always the first to latch on to a new product and innovate and test with new formats. So when we say act like a creator, it's being on Spotify, it's tapping into culture, which I'll get to in a moment, but it's also just leveraging the formats available to you. So audio, yes, but also video. So as a brand, it's making sure that you show up in all of the different ways that people are consuming our platform and participating in fan communities on our platform by having the right formats to do so. And then 3, tap into culture. At the end of the day, we all know, I don't have to sell you on Spotify being the place for culture. But when we say tap into culture, this can mean big mainstream cultural moments, and it could also mean the niche communities that we're seeing on Spotify. Big mainstream moments meaning, how does, Spotify play a role and how does your brand play a role in tapping into maybe a new artist that's sprouting that is also like-minded to your brand, or the Olympics, or these kind of larger moments that are happening in culture that also have a role on Spotify. Niche moments, literally, if you like a topic, there is a podcast for it. We actually even have cat calming playlists, so playlists for your cat. So these are 3 of our core principles. What I thought I would also show is just a really great example of a brand who really, really leaned into Spotify by taking their product, pairing it with what Spotify is known for, which is the power of audio and music in particular, and tapping into culture by coming up with spicy playlists that you'll learn a little bit more about, and also the results that went along with it. So here is a quick case study.
The world finds Indian food
Spicy.
Spicy.
but Indians can't get enough. And with the new 7-Up, the spicier your food gets, the more refreshing your 7-Up tastes. So we had to give this spice-loving nation a whole new way to add spice.
Guys, 7-Up is saying I can turn up the spice in my food with music? Can't believe it.
Introducing 7-Up Spice It playlist in association with Spotify. We got a science guy from Oxford who cracked this.
Sounds can affect the taste of food. And there are even some sounds out there that can make spicy food taste even spicier. Taste part of our brain and the sound part of our brain are connected.
He gave us the spice boosting formula. And we brought in India's hottest music composer, Anirudh Ravichandar. Using that formula, he went through millions of Indian songs to find the ones where the spice boosting pattern kept showing up. Only those songs made it to the 7-Up Spice It playlist. Then, we printed it on our new 7-Up cans for people to scan. That's when things really started heating up.
Where on earth do you plan concepts like these? My playlist game just got spicy as
This is fire, literally.
People began reacting.
I can hear the spice.
Who invented this?
This is crazy. It's literally like spicy death by music.
Even India's top music stars took notice.
You, getting spicier?
But this is so cool.
Refreshed.
It wants.
And the most loved pizza brand joined us. Over 6,000 custom spicy combos were created on food delivery apps. What started as a playlist became a full-blown spice wave across the country.
I love this case study. What I love about it is that it took this really interesting, deep insight about their audience, and it made it a complete 360 campaign, but it also tapped into culture and leveraged creators, and obviously had a lot of success across social media and their results. So I think that's a great example of creativity that also drives impact. But I figured, why leave you with one example if I could close you out on just some other inspiring ways that brands have leveraged our platform. So one more.
We run the show now. It's how we do it. Okay, let's go. I'ma say it. Gonna take it.
Coca-Cola en vidrio. Los clásicos nunca mueren.
I'ma state it. Gonna shake it. I'ma slay it.
Heineken. Less on your phone, more to your social life.
Amex presents Music Tastes.
Let's cook up some restaurant suggestions.
This episode is brought to you by Uber Eats. You can now get almost anything you need for your sunny days. A cabana, that's a no. A banana, that's a yes.
Giving us rules, I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
Let every slurp unfurl a rhythm you can sway to.
Giving us rules, I don't know about that. Showing them how. We run the show now. Take the world down.
I'm gonna open up a 6-pack of Michelob Ultra, the official beer sponsor of the NBA.
Let's go. Take the world down.
So hopefully that gives you a little bit of inspiration of all of the ways that your most creative ideas can live on Spotify. And thank you so much for having me.